So here we are, Sundance Film Festival exclusive. We've seen 8th Grade, the latest indie film from Bo Burnham. We even got to meet or see Bo Burnham in the flesh, the director, and he was so cool.
He was.
Wasn't he?
So cool.
I wanted to be his friend.
I want to be his friend. He is my friend. He doesn't know it yet, but he is my friend.
Yeah.
So 8th Grade is a film starring relatively new actress Elsie Fisher.
Not too new though.
No,
Not
she was
too new.
the little girl in Despicable Me.
Yeah, Agnes.
She was Agnes. What does she famously say in it?
It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die!
It used to be my ringtone.
Oh, we loved her in that.
It has a Rotten Tomatoes aggregate score of 100%.
That's crazy.
It's a rites of passage film about a 13-year-old girl going through all the trials, tribulations, stresses, social media, headaches, hang-ups, hiccups, you name it, of being a 13-year-old girl. Interestingly, directed by a 26-year-old man. What were your expectations, girls, going in?
I mean, I really loved the trailer. I was really excited about it. I thought it was quite Florida Project-y, the
Yes.
kind of way the way it was filmed and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought she looked amazing from the trailer as well. So I was really excited about it.
What did you think?
I was really excited. I watched, it was weird, quite meta. I watched you guys watching the trailer. I watched the trailer through that like a while ago. And I just sat there like happy crying, quiet. I was like proper bawling my eyes out with just the trailer.
Just the trailer?
Because I just really already felt like, oh my god, she's so capturing exactly how I felt at school.
Right. Now you were there for the trailer, Mum, and you looked you almost didn't look like you knew what was happening.
No, I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't like it at all.
Why?
I thought it wouldn't speak to me at all. It's not that I didn't think it was probably a good film, but it didn't say anything to me, the trailer. It looked to me as if it was far too much about social media and phones. They must have been a bit...
And does that feel like, as an older woman, does that feel like something so outside of your realm of experience?
I mean, not necessarily if it just plays a bit of a part in the film, but if I can remember right, the trailer, it seemed to play an awfully big part. And I thought, no, this isn't going to interest me.
For me, there's always a quintessential Sundance film. I think films like Meal and The Dying Girl, Florida Project.
It's always a bit promising if it's a Sundance.
Absolutely. And this one, even in the trailer, I thought, yeah, this feels like it's... But sometimes those films do deliver on it and can be a bit predictable. And it's like, oh yeah, it's a sort of photo fit Sundance film.
Yeah.
It felt very like Lady Bird, like one of the guys said in the Q&A afterwards.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it was quite
Didn't
Lady
he?
Bird.
Had you been inspired by
Like
Lady Bird?
the parents' relationship with the child.
Yeah.
It starts with a sort of monologue, if you like, of her talking into camera, starting her own YouTube channel, and doing her own films. And I, almost from the get-go, I felt, woohoo, we're in such confident hands here.
You could tell from the first moment she's on screen that she's just going to be great.
Yeah. It charts her progress through school, doesn't it? And
Well, through eighth grade,
Eighth grade.
which is having gone through a middle school system, the last year of middle school before you go into big school that you're going to be in until you're 18 leaving. So it's like the kind of symbolic of saying goodbye to a more childhood.
And she has this device of this
going
box
into
that
teenage.
she's done a memory box to her future self, doesn't she?
So I think that was like the school had run this what's it called, capsule project, and like she'd put in a box. I'm just remembering the line later on, like, what's in there? Only my hopes and dreams.
Only my hopes and dreams, yeah, that's right. Well, in this box are her hopes and dreams from her younger self.
Yeah, her younger self.
So presumably, how old is she? She's 13 in the film, so she did the box when she was how old?
10 or 11.
10 or 11. So it's a great film, actually.
Yeah.
It's a film which plays with flashing forward, flashing back.
Yes.
Expectations of what one would be, could be, might become.
Your expectations that you put on yourself.
Yeah.
And your idea of how much you should grow in a period of time.
Yeah.
Because obviously her older self to her 8th grade self, she had this little
Just say-
SpongeBob USB that she uses, which was her past self talking to her 8th grade self. And I liked how when she listened to it, all the questions that her past self was asking, like, do you have a boyfriend? And she hadn't done any of that stuff, and the kind of like sadness she had in herself.
Yeah.
She was getting really upset about that.
Yeah, I
wasn't
thought she played that really beautifully.
Yeah.
And you could see she played the kind of disappointment in herself really well because she hadn't done any of those things.
Yeah.
Really well.
Did you relate to that?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I even relate to it having come out of uni and being like, oh, have you made all of the best friends? Like, if it were past me at like the start of uni being like, oh, I bet you've made all of friends for life, I bet you're all still hanging out, I bet you go on holidays together. Like all those things that you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not doing that, I've not done that, I've not done that.
Huge pressure. So at this stage of the film, given that you had no relationship with social media, what was holding you at this point then as we moved into
Her entirely, because the thing that you just talked about, that box, I hate to say this and show my ignorance, I wasn't exactly sure what that was. So I wasn't 100% sure what that
was going on?
until she listened to the SpongeBob thing, which was much later on in the film.
But they did say...
Yeah, I'm sure they said, but I just
No,
wasn't
I agree
sure.
with you. I wasn't sure the first time she was
Yeah, I
looking
think-
at the
I
box.
think-
I was like,
She held me.
So let's sort of break it down into realms, because really as a narrative, it's not really about how the story proceeds, although there is
No.
a story and it's about sort of boys and it's about self-esteem and it's about how attractive she is. What did we think of her home life? I mean, obviously a very strong character in the form of her father,
I loved
Josh
him.
Hamilton, I believe his name.
I loved him so much. I felt it was really interesting though, because I really felt sorry for him in parts, and there were moments where I could understand her anger that she had towards him when your parents embarrass him and just like, oh my god, shut up. But then also at the same time, they really made you feel sorry for him, and it was just like, oh my god, just hug him and say that you love him back. Because Clay's dad in 30 Reasons Why.
Oh, that's right, you said.
And he was good in what he had in it, but he had a really small part, so I loved
He
seeing
plays
him.
the dad, a kind of nervous
Dad, yeah.
like really emotionally like available dad,
Dad
really well.
Yeah.
Maybe he is that.
And also a dad that can't do anything right.
Well, which is the nature of being a dad.
Which is the nature of being a dad, exactly. But I thought he did that beautifully, and he clearly adores her. But almost everything he says is wrong.
But like, I loved actually. There's a moment where he has his own little monologue, and he's so kind of inarticulately trying to. But you're amazing, like just
I thought that first scene
actually,
that
that's
established
true.
them at the dining table, I thought the film had a very innovative use of music, which was set up in that moment where she was sitting at the dining table with the music in her ears, and it was so loud. I mean, it was, louder than it should have been in a normal film.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really clever because it parked us firmly in her point of view. And she was obviously blocking him out, and then you could hear his voice trying to scratch her. For me, the whole father thing was great. I wanted to say in the question and answer afterwards, it felt like a documentary about what it means to be an emotionally available father to daughters, because you might be emotionally available, but you're not necessarily wanted.
No.
What about, okay, so that's sort of home and father. School, I thought it was a great film. Yeah, I mean, I love American films set in schools, but I thought the way in which they shot the school sequences were wonderful. Being marched down
James.
What was the name of the film that the hair down there?
The
hair down there. And that was when they showed you that shot of that boy.
And I thought they didn't try too hard in those scenes.
No,
I thought
they
the scenes were both natural but also quite cartoony.
Also, I think it was quite good as well because people complain a lot about American high school films because they tend to glamorize the school situation. Because I remember whenever I see like an American film set in a high school, I'm like, oh, I wish I went to an American school. But American kids would say it sucks just as much as the schools here.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really good because it was just like my school experience here.
Yes.
And it was nice to see that Americans go through the same things.
Yeah,
I was
with
quite-
loads
yeah,
of
I
stuff.
was
And I
very
loved the like extreme boredom that they were all
Yes.
going through it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're obviously like, oh my god, but then they're like,
So it looked like
that's
Guantanamo,
It
didn't it?
did, didn't
It was
it?
like-
Now, there's one particular boy that obviously she has this obsession. Well, how did you girls feel they painted her obsession with him, both with music and shots?
Well, I just wanted to say about the music, I really loved how it would be really loud in situations where she was anxious, or like when she would look at the boy Aiden and it would be like really loud kind of
I love that. Yeah, I mean,
pop music.
yeah, you felt like you were in her head, listening to the headphones with her, like, and that was his song that she listened to and thought about him.
And what about him?
I think he was really, really good.
He was.
He played like that really kind of simple middle school boy.
Totally.
And there's a wonderful scene, without ruining it, where she's trying to hook his interest and she goes for the most sort of obvious sort of thing, which is to do with, maybe something too sexual, and suddenly his look of interest.
Yeah, that was fantastically done.
If I'm honest, throughout, the father in me was just feeling the agony of this girl's sense of either not belonging or her rejection or her struggle with her skin. I thought it was a very unvain performance. There's a party that her father sort of insists she goes to. When she goes to it, it's in the trailer, she sort of walks into the pool party in her suit. my heart, I just wanted to scoop her up and look after her. And there was a scene just before that of a panic attack, which you girls were talking about. That felt
I thought it was really realistic.
Realistic, because it was a very small moment, but she was just like breathing a lot, and it was like she'd gone in her clothes, she was getting changed in the toilet. I was like, at every moment of those, I was like, please don't overhype this. Don't make someone walk in suddenly. Don't make this into a massive Hollywood moment.
Yeah, they really kept it.
And they really kept it realistic. Like, no one walked in on her. She just had like a little moment of being totally scared of just walking out in her swimming costume, which is so like.
And then she went into the pool party. I mean,
the
I thought that was
bravery.
incredible. Yeah.
But she said that lovely line, which we often use as parents, which is you have to be, in order to be brave, you have to be scared.
Yeah.
I was always yearning for another one of her monologues, like at every point. And they came at exactly the points that I really wanted another one, and it was just so good.
I mean, you're closest in age to her age. What did you most identify with?
I really felt for her in that pool scene. The way her body language was so believable, and like not just me, but how I've seen my other friends in those sorts of situations. Because I had a pool party here with just some really close friends, and we all love each other and we're all comfortable with each other, and we still all had that sense of like, oh, now I've got to get my swimming costume in front of everybody, and then we all agreed to just like do it and just not care. And I really loved that, because you could see she was watching all those kids that were just effortlessly having a great time in their swimming costumes, and she was like had long hair and was kind of like this. Because I had a similar thing when I was at school, and I had to get in this leotard with my friends for this photo shoot, and they were all really skinny, and I felt for her in that bit. I was like, oh my god, I had the same thing where I was like, oh, I don't want to go out, but I'll try and act like I'm fine with it.
I thought her little monologues on her YouTube, when you actually listened to what she was saying, they were so profoundly accurate.
Weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, if you actually did stop to listen and she had more than 7 views, most teenagers would have gained benefit from listening to her.
I know,
Which is what the boy says in the end, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He says, you've
gay.
changed my life.
Well, at the pool party,
very small part, but
very small part. We introduced the character of Gabe, an absolute runaway hit, wasn't he?
He was
astonishing.
But at the end of it, I just wanted to be his friend. I
wanted
to know him.
I wanted to adopt him.
Who are you, Gabe? We want to know you.
Well, and the great thing about the film is that his sort of there's 2 scenes effectively that he's in. And his second scene, which comes very much towards the end of the film, I think was one of the most charmingly wonderful, idiosyncratic and odd sort of date scenes I've ever seen.
That was so adorable though.
He was adorable.
Like the nation is going to fall in love with him.
He was just amazing in both the very small scenes that he was in. The pool scene as well. I just totally that kind of excitement that a boy gets at doing something that's like physically related. And the way he had his goggles on, and he could
Ryan is his name.
The way he had his goggles on, he could say things properly because
he was so funny, wasn't he? The other scene that really hurt me as a parent was the scene in the car with one of the boys, where she was sort of pushed into the most sort of vulnerable position, I thought, in the film.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I was actually really worried in that scene. I was worried it was going to go, because I felt really uncomfortable in that. So without giving anything away, I felt really uncomfortable, and I was worried that it was going to turn out being too much.
Yes.
Like almost everything else is at the moment, especially after 13 Reasons Why. I'm like, I can't deal with another sort of thing that goes on for too long. And I mean, I was kind of the whole way through that scene, I was like, end now, like stop now.
Do you know what?
So was I.
But looking back on it, I don't have a criticism of the scene. I thought it was done really well. But I'm glad they didn't go too far with it.
You know what? By then, I thoroughly trusted the director and her, in the sense that although initially you think, a boy sits next to a girl and clearly he's got different wants and needs to her. But by then, I would normally have felt acutely uncomfortable at that stage, but somehow I didn't.
I didn't want to, and I didn't at first, but when it was like going on for long, the scene, and it was kind of escalating, I was like, I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah, because it did take quite a long time, didn't it?
And I'll tell you what the film did for me, which I thought was really clever. There were great scenes and montages of her just, you would assume, idly on her social media.
Yeah.
It made every single thing she was looking at and doing was so full and deep and over-brimming with meaning, and there was
Yeah.
significance to everything she was doing. You could see how she was hating herself, loving herself, defining herself,
Yeah.
feeling left out, feeling included, potentially included. And so it made me reevaluate when we look at our kids and they're all on their social media.
Yes.
A myriad of issues are playing out.
Yeah, it made me, because I know nothing, as I said about the trailer, and know nothing about social media anyway, it made me and I don't understand it anymore at the end of the film than I did at the beginning, but it made me, all my granddaughters use it, and
Yeah.
I will never look at them in the same way again, because so much is going on when they're using that, and I never had any idea.
I also really like what the director said at the end of the film. He said the more you try and understand the internet, the less you know.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
like you
True.
just, I mean, I don't think we necessarily know what's going on, we're just going along with
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
everybody's doing.
But like,
Yes.
I mean, what do I do on it? Mainly watch like really funny videos and take quizzes, which is essentially what she
Yeah.
was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even within that seemingly pointless activity, there's a lot of meaning, and there's a lot
Yes.
of self-doubt,
Oh,
and
yes,
there's a lot
yes,
of
yes.
self-hope, and there's a lot of, you know...
Disney princess are you?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know,
exactly.
which cheese defines your personality?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
a shout out. I think a shout out also has to go out to the editor. I thought it was a beautifully
Oh,
edited
God,
film,
yes,
where
yes.
some of their mixture and it's a device you don't often see in films these days, but superimposing of more than one image can be
Oh,
a
yeah,
highly
yes,
effective device. And I thought it was
Yeah.
really well done in this to show you that actually for this generation, but a little bit like the MTV generation when I was younger, you're very used to layers of images washing
Yeah,
over you all the time,
yeah.
and you felt that she was one of many images within
Yeah,
it. So I thought
yeah.
that was quite poetic.
Yeah, because you could look at it and say that the editing's really simple, because
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, kind of crazy and clever
yeah.
in what it's
Yeah,
doing, but
yeah.
it's
But it was
actually really
subtle.
skilled.
Yeah.
Very subtle. Any criticisms of the film? I know the only reason I asked that is I know that you felt that the sort of the bullies or the kind of the girls too cool for school girls
Yeah, I
weren't.
think my one criticism with it would probably be, you know, with the popular girls. I think that it was slightly over the top. I don't think they're that obviously vicious.
I
Like
know what you
when
mean.
I was, because I was a bit like her at my secondary school. So like when I'd go and try to talk to one of the popular girls, they wouldn't just be looking at their phone and answering me. They kind of look at me, they'd be like, oh yeah, and you can see that they kind of want to get out of the situation. But I didn't feel like, I don't think there was anything with the directing, it might have just been with the
Yeah.
actresses or something.
Yeah.
They're quite young, so yeah, I just felt it was a little bit too over the top. That's not what they're like.
I know what you
Unbelievable
mean.
in
Actually,
that
I
sense.
didn't see that, but then looking back,
Yeah, I think you're
when
right.
you said that, I was like, oh yeah, they were a little bit
Bit
caricatured.
Yeah, I just thought it was really nice to see a film which you rarely see about a father and a daughter too.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
it was really
absolutely.
refreshing to see.
And for you.
And also to see a relationship between a father and daughter where the father was, I hate to use the word feminine because that's sort of,
Yeah.
he was a father, a caring father.
Yeah,
There's
it was
nothing wrong
manly.
And
Yeah.
he, no, but he was like in her life, like,
Yes.
and he was invested. And
Yes.
like the banana scene was like,
banana
I swear
scene
I
was
wrote down that you
hysterical.
don't
I saw
like
that
Sorry.
go down as
Yeah.
some sort
Yeah.
of.
I know he's like
Great.
present.
Thank you, Sundance, for delivering
Thank
this
you.
film.
Thank you.
So in our sum up, let's get Gucci.
I loved the film from start to finish. I was absolutely in it from the moment it started. It's totally immersive. It was just so interesting. I certainly wasn't looking at myself in her, but I've got 4
Yeah.
granddaughters, and I was looking at them, and maybe the youngest of my granddaughters, who was, how much younger is Kiki than that
2.
girl?
3 years.
Yeah, and she's all the time on her phone and everything. It made me think about that completely differently. I mean, I've seen masses of films in my life, but I've never seen one where I was so committed from start to finish as I was in that film.
And so you're going to give it?
10 out of 10.
Wow, that is a big score
I've
for
never
you.
given
You're a
a film
tough
that.
scorer.
I am.
Wow. I mean, I was already crying in the trailer, and I definitely felt like, I was like, oh my god, this is 100%. This is the first film in a trailer form that I feel has captured so accurately just the intense, like, awareness of your body, awareness of your mind, like awareness of yourself being in a body. Like when you're a kid, you're just like there, and then you're coming into teenagehood and feeling just so like crippled with the awareness that you've been handed. I was like, oh my god, this looks to be something that I'd be really into, and yeah, 100% delivered, which is so rare, but such a gift. I feel like it's a gift of a film.
Yes.
And I felt that in the cinema. I was roaring with laughter, and then just had tears rolling down my neck as well, just like completely in it. And you feel like her, like you feel so like her, and then you also love her as a separate person.
Yeah.
I want to be friends with her. I want to be friends with the director. Yeah, so 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10 there, my God.
Yeah.
I thought it was a remarkably clever, subtle, funny, poignant, restrained, stylish, kind. It was a kind film.
Yeah.
And I thought, for me as a father of 4 daughters, all the way through watching it, I kept squeezing Maddie's knee and squeezing Izzy and saying, reaching over and kissing and holding them. And it just made me realise how horrendously complicated growing up is now, and how growing up now and growing up at 13 is a really difficult time for girls in a very different way to it, the way it is for boys.
Yeah.
It made me rethink everything you've all gone through. It made me just really very proud of how you all manage so many different pressures that come into your lives.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And how social media isn't something just to be kicked into the long grass and criticised and knocked aside. It's actually a very complicated tool of some self-worth, but a lot of self-harm. And so, you know, you've been hit with a real curveball of technology as a generation, I think. So it made me really think about that. And you're absolutely right. I felt like it was a gift. I think that was a really nice way to describe it. I would give it 10 out of 10 too.
Wow.
Yeah, like all of you from the very start, I was like, wow, this is a really promising film, and she's really promising. Yeah, I just thought it was a really truthful film from everybody, the director, the writing, all of the actors. I was really surprised, you know, when we had that a lot of it wasn't improvised, but it seemed really improvised in a good way. Out of all the films that have been here recently, and series like 13 Reasons Why, I thought it did 13 Reasons Why's job a lot better.
Oh, that's interesting.
To kind of sort of not glamorize, they weren't glamorizing it at all, and it was stuck really truthful to how you're feeling in yourself, and how you're constantly thinking other people's opinions of yourself, and like her excitement when she was invited to meet those teenage girls as well. And obviously, because I had a really similar experience to her when I was in school, I really believed that she was the character.
Yeah, I did utterly.
It wasn't like she was playing, it wasn't like she was acting someone, she was the character. It was just the perfect, I could watch that so many
I could watch it. I do love it as a series. I was just thinking I could watch her up until like, she leaves school.
I could just keep watching it. But I'd give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Wow.
So, wow.
Well, there you go. Bo Burnham and Elsie Fisher. Gabe, Jake Ryan. And Josh Hamilton, the dad, whose name in it was Mark.
Was it? Oh my God.
Can I just say thank you?
Thank you.
I wish Nadia had been with us to see it, because
she would have loved it.
We can go again.
My only annoyance with it is that it's a 15, because Kiki would love that.
Why is it 15?
Why is it 15?
Exactly.
12A, make it a 12A.
Yeah.
Truly brilliant.
So
and to sign off,
Gucci!
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.